I hope Daniel Tosh gets in big trouble because
Oh boy, yeah, that was
still
a
going.
big story.
It's still going on?
Yeah.
On Twitter, at least. Dummies. People are.
Really are.
Dumbbells.
I like that the comedians are coming out, though, and kind of being reasonable.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. One woman wrote about what we said on this show, and she was like, she agreed with kind of the points that were made, except that, like, you know, when I attacked bloggers and said, like, they're kind of cunts for blogging.
Oh, bloggers.
But the reason I said that was not that you don't have the right to blog or not that you shouldn't express yourself. But the fact is, if you want somebody penalized for saying what you don't like, that to me is the problem.
Right.
And if you're a woman rape is a fair thing to make fun of. Sorry. It's they throw this manipulative shit at you. Well, do you think rape is funny? No. It's horrible.
Yeah, the act of rape is not funny. We all know that.
But I'll tell you what else isn't funny.
But a rape joke can be funny.
Of course it can.
Like any other dark shit that we make fun of.
Being struck in the face with a wrench isn't funny.
Right.
However, the Stooges pull it off.
Of course.
A lot of things aren't funny that can be made fun of.
Yep.
When you look at the Stooges and people think it's a terrible comparison, it's absolute brutality. Well, they were doing it to each other. Well, you knew they were friends. However you want to make it, the act of bashing somebody's fucking skull in with a brick or a hot rivet is not funny. It's terrible and sad.
But rivet ones were hilarious.
Hilarious!
But anyone's argument, when they say you think rape is fun, I don't even want to argue with those people. Because of course not. That's not what we're getting at here. You don't understand the basics of comedy if that's your opening statement in the argument. That's just dumb. You don't find rape jokes funny. That's fine.
Fair enough.
But guess what? There's a lot of people that do. Just like they like other dark shit that is made funny.
Because, and they think like I know for women, rape is a horrible, I mean, of course, obviously, it's a terrible fucking thing. But I feel I make fun of shit that affects me. I make fun of shit that hurts me, that has hurt me, that has indirectly affected me, and direct. So it's like I attack the things that hurt me for real that aren't funny.
Exactly. Right.
So why should that be? Like, why is rape not make funnable, but murder is? Or the Iraq War is? Well, there's nothing funny about the war.
Well, I'll say it again. I mean, your Penn State stuff in your latest special is beyond hilarious. But kid fucking is not funny.
Right.
The act of kid fucking is not funny. But Jimmy's stuff on the Penn State thing was out. It was hilarious.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks.
There's an example. Another dark subject that you could figure out how to make it funny. Of course. And but that doesn't mean everyone laughing at all that Penn State stuff condones kid fucking. That's a big leap, you idiots.
And part of the beauty of a rape joke or a joke about something that's horrible and truly not a funny subject is it's allowing you to laugh at something fucking horrible. And there's value in that. There's real value with that. That's why cops laugh when they're dragging fucking severed heads out of.
Right. Can I break it down though? Like, why is that? Why do we? Let's go with the Penn State shit. The shit that happened to those kids is horrific, obviously. But then we're at your special and we're all laughing. We think, holy fuck, this is funny. Why is that? Because sometimes humor, I think, can do a couple of things. I think sometimes a laugh is a release. It's very much like crying, and not to be corny, but it's the same, like, it's the same motion as crying. It's the same draining feeling. Right. It's like cops and convicts. One went left, one went right. I mean, to me, that's the way it is with crying and laughing. One goes left, one goes right. Right. I think it also allows us to somehow make sense of something horrible, even if it's in an absurd way. Like to look at child fucking is terrible. Right. It's fucking horrible and it's sad. That goes without saying. Right. That's why we're talking about it. How are we able to separate the two as human beings? Like, I'm trying to really break this down. I just think that there's a certain, why wouldn't we as human beings go, well, we all know kid fucking is horrendous, so yeah, of course we shouldn't laugh at kid fucking jokes. It's the same reason we laugh when somebody falls on the ice. There's something funny sometimes about addressing something horrible a certain way. Right. And I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah, I can't wrap my head around it. That's why I'm asking. I wonder what the answer is to that. Oh, and I twittered something about
Hey, how come actors don't get in trouble? Oh, yeah, Christian Bale's a great actor because he plays an American Psycho, but comics are pigs. And people kept saying, that's a terrible example because...
No, it's not.
How is it a terrible example?
Well, here was their argument. Because rapists are always made to look bad. Rape is made to look tragic. Rapists get their comeuppance in films. Bullshit. First, American Psycho was darkly funny. And don't tell me Clockwork Orange, that rape scene... First of all, the scene was a work of art.
Right.
Violence was put to classical music. And that rape scene with the giant nose, the absurdity of Singing in the Rain and slapping her on cue and putting a ball, that was a very darkly humorous and beautifully shot rape scene.
Right.
There was something artistic about it. And people say, well, it still makes the rape look horrible. So, okay, I get it. Artistic only counts if it paints the act the way you think it should be painted.
And people just look at Daniel Tosh and go, well, this is what he thinks of rape. He's playing a role. He's playing a role on stage. That's not the real guy. It's parts of the real guy.
Sure.
Just like radio shows, it's parts of our personality, but it's not what we truly believe at all times.
And why do they think...
But in movies and TV shows, it's completely accepted. But if you do it on the radio or if you do it on a comedy club, you're held responsible. Well, this is how Daniel Tosh thinks.
Genuinely feels.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Well, the reason they say that, I think they know better. I think these people know better. But if they give in to that argument, like an actor is only playing a role, comedians, yeah, we're telling the truth, but we're also exaggerating.
It's an exaggerated truth.
And he was taking an absurd point of view. To say that rape jokes are always funny and blah, blah, that's an absurd point. Sometimes taking an absurdist look at something, or a completely over-the-top, nonsensical look at something, you give the audience a certain amount of credit.
Yeah.
Like here's a kind of a banal example, but it means so. Like, nobody really thought that Dice was getting his dick sucked in a bank.
Right.
The funny part of that is that it's an absurd thing.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
That's what makes it funny. You can't explain even why that makes it funny. It's just so crazy.
So over the top.
To put that image in your head, you get that uncomfortable feeling for a second, like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then it makes you laugh because it's so insane.
And there's a real value in that. And some guys don't do that, like Regan or Cosby. These are guys that don't do that type, and that's what they do is amazing.
And that's their style.
And that's their style.
Right.
But there is, I mean, Tosh is kind of known for being dickish and stuff like that, and that's what he does. And I saw Doug Benson and Rogan, and I did a set on their show in San Diego this weekend. And Doug Benson had a good way of putting it. We were backstage talking about this whole nonsense. And Doug Benson said something about, hey, man, it's the human tapestry. And the way he put that, the human tapestry, was a great way to phrase it, because that's what rape is. It's a horrible thing, but it's simply a part of our existence, like murder is, like crib death is, like farting is, like making chicken farts. They're all, some much more extreme than others, a part of our human existence, and they're all fair game, no matter how innocent or terrible they are.
Well, but Doug Benson's human tapestry is made out of hemp, so...
Yeah, it really is. He is a fucking doped-out motherfucker.
Whoa.
But it was a great way to
just
phrase
like
it.
to laugh at dark shit sometimes.
Sure.
And I can't explain why to people. We just do, though. And a lot of people, I guess, they feel like they're above that, or they're going to pick and choose what they laugh at, which is fine.
Sure.
But once again, you can't now demand everyone else laugh at the same shit you laugh at. That's ridiculous.
And
this comes up all the time. You don't like rape jokes. That's fine.
Sure.
Shut your fucking mouth or leave the comedy club, because other people are enjoying the rape jokes that night.
If you don't like rape jokes, I don't begrudge a woman for thinking. There's a lot of women that were raped that won't laugh. Okay,
fine.
Because people got on Twitter, I kind of attacked the woman saying she rudely interrupted, which she did. Here's what you do if you don't like what's going on stage. You leave. Mm-hmm. You say, you know what? This is not for me. Maybe you do get a refund and go, look, this is not the type of show I wanted to see. And because I think Tosh just stopped in that night, so they didn't technically go to see him. And then you leave. To me, that's a very fair thing to do. But people were like, she had the right. No, she didn't. She did not have the right to interrupt a live performance of an artist.
Right.
Whether you like what the artist...
Right.
That's like saying, if he was up there painting a picture, and you walked over and go, I object to that picture, and threw paint on it.
And that's one of the problems. A lot of people think stand-up comics are not part of the art world. They are. They are. They're creating. They're artists. It's like going to a movie you don't approve of and standing up and trying to, shut down the entire fucking movie because you don't like what you're seeing. And God, we all wish we could do that sometimes with some of these shitty movies out there. But you don't. You don't. You walk out maybe, or you just fucking sit through it and deal, whatever. But you would never have the balls to stand up and try to shut down the fucking movie that's being shown.
And you know what?
You don't approve of the subject matter.
You know what would help? You're right about comedians not being considered artists by the general public. And what would help us is if these fucking fruity cocksucker musicians and actors and you other shitheads stood up for comics once in a while.
Right.
Because you're fucking, I'm telling you something, if that was an actor, and he had played a rapist, and people objected, every fucking actor would crawl out of the woodwork to defend him.
Of course.
But because you're a comic, we still have this reputation as it's perfectly okay for you to dictate what is appropriate in our content. But meanwhile, if you're an actor, you hate that.
Right.
You hate that. This is the equivalent of these religious assholes going after a religious movie that paints Christ the way they don't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, fuck you. If you interrupt a comedy show, I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel guilty about rape jokes or murder jokes or jokes about my own suicide attempts.
Anything that'll fucking offend somebody, you can't base whether something's funny or not if it offends you. It could be hilariously funny. It offends you or you're uncomfortable hearing it. That's just the way it is. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's not funny to everyone else and it should be taken off the table.
Yeah, and unfortunately radio guys fall into that same category. So many radio guys getting fired for really trying to be artists and create something that morning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The JV and Elvis one still blows my mind. One of the guys was married to an Asian, or was he married?
Yeah, married to an Asian. Beautiful Asian girl, yeah.
Beautiful Asian girl, and did Asian humor on his own show, and that he couldn't save that enough. Should have saved his ass that he's actually married to an Asian.
Yeah,
but they're like, oh no, that's how he really feels. No, he was trying to create that day, you dopes.
And you weave how you really feel in with silliness, like you do. It's a really fine line. You tell the truth. But you also, like, in the Penn State stuff, I really did feel that way about Sandusky. And, but the lie of it, the performance part of it, is the mockery of it. Right. Like, do you really think, you fucking dumbbells, that if Tosh heard about a girl getting raped, he wouldn't feel something? Or do you really think that I look at pedophilia? I talk about how I fucking cried like a fruit through the whole first season of Lost.
Right.
I can't fucking, season 4, I can't believe he asked Kate to marry him. Like I'm a blubbering idiot.
Right.
Fruit.
It's a way somehow of handling this stuff or of looking at this stuff without collapsing. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And you have to be able to do that. It does not demean the act of rape. It doesn't mean that I look at rape any less fucking horribly. That's just how I fucking handle it.
Right. There you go.
Or how anybody else handles it.
More importantly, where's Comedy Central with this whole thing?
I don't think they've said anything. I think they're in a bad spot because, again, they're a network with advertisers. It would help if more of the artistic comedians, of course, we're going to stick up for each other.
Yeah.
Right. Where are the actors and where are the songwriters and all you other cocksuckers that love your artistic freedom?
Because it affects everyone in the end. Like, I never thought I'd see the day where they actually went after guys that are doing stand-up. When it happened to radio guys, I'm like, really? And then now they moved on.
Said like stand-up's next. like
I think we did.
They're coming after.
And then of course now they're going after stand-up. So no one's safe. That's why everyone should speak up when this shit happens.
And it almost feels like they've been going after stand-ups forever, though. I mean, like Lenny, they ruined Lenny's life, but it was religious stuff.
But it seemed like for a while now, stand-up was left alone. But in the last couple of years, they're really focusing on what the comic is saying and taking that one joke or a sound clip if they could record it and throw it out there. And Tracy Morgan obviously and a few others in the past year or two.
I think the surprising thing is that Americans think we are so progressive thinking.
Nah, we're not. We suck.
When we look back on people who've gotten in trouble, like when you look back on what happened to Lenny, now again, that was the legality, the police were arresting him. But when you look back on even the public outcry about what he said, it seems cryptic and archaic. And how could people have thought that way? Like Joan Rivers couldn't say pregnant when she did Sullivan. And you're like, oh my God, how could we have thought that way?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing now. It's just the fucking sacred cows have changed.
Yeah, yeah. It's no different. We look back and think, oh, that's crazy to get upset at something like that. But it's crazy to get upset about things we're talking about now.
It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't blame him for apologizing because, again, he has a $25 million thing to protect. So I'm not going to trash Tosh for apology. He's an edgy dude, and, you know.
Well, what I said about that is, you know, if you had the people behind the show stepping up and protecting you, then, you know, these guys wouldn't have to apologize. I've completely changed my whole stance on apologizing. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Because the next time we get in trouble here, we know damn well no one at SiriusXM is going to step forward and protect us and go, look, they have the right, they were doing this, and try to explain to these people.
Wouldn't that be nice?
They will leave us to hang, man.
They always do. And
so
this is every company.
And that's why then the artists, and they all look like assholes, and we have looked like assholes ourselves. You have to fucking apologize.
Yeah.
You have no fucking choice.
And comics, the logical
if you like
thing,
what you do, and if you like the gig you're at.
You have to apologize or you're going to lose it.
But the fact is, like, next time we get in trouble, Scott Greenstein or one of these guys should be front and center because they know how all this works. But that ain't going to happen, and we know that. We know that.
And it's not even just management, though. Like, when I look at, again, the other artists, and, like, where are they? Like, again, even if you don't like rape jokes, why aren't you coming out and going, you know, I find rape jokes repulsive. But in reality, there should be no penalty for what he said. And yeah, that was, and I'll say it was harsh what he said to that woman. But you know what? She heckled him. Mm-hmm. She heckled him. The only time it's okay for an audience person, like I've had people yell stuff out, and you know what they do when they're trying to have fun. She objected and was trying to derail what he was doing artistically and deserved the fucking beating she got verbally.
Right.
So I don't buy this victim shit. Hey, you know, all these people, we were in a closed space. Then why didn't you just leave quietly?
Encouraging a gang rape.
But he really wasn't.
Well, that's what I've
And she knows that.
A few people have hit me up with that one. He was encouraging a gang rape.
Do you think he was really trying to get everyone to rape her?
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Of course not.
Yeah.
That's the absurdity of it. And they know that on some level, dude. It's almost like they know that he was not encouraging that, but they can't acknowledge that any more than they can acknowledge that actors have a different set of rules because if they don't, my argument's shot.
Right.
They don't want to lose the argument. Fuck them. And fuck the actors and fuck the musicians for not standing up for the performers, too. You never hear about it. Or you hear about it rarely. These fucking cowards hiding behind their publicists. None of them step up and go, I don't like this joke, but there should be no penalty for this guy doing it. Yeah. Because you know what? I played a fucking rapist. The actor will jump right on board with the fucking public. No, it's terrible. It should never be joked about. Unless, of course, it's for Christian Bale making a funny remark after a murder in American Psycho. Then it's acceptable. I don't know what character that was. That was outraged.
I like angry
guy.
I like that character.
He was very angry, Jimmy.
I thought it was sort of going away, but I guess not, huh? Where is it at right now?
It's just on
More
Twitter
bloggers and all that shit.
And again, Clockwork was nominated for an Oscar, and it had a very beautifully shot rape scene. Beautifully shot. But don't tell me there was no fucking tongue-in-cheek sarcasm in that, or the fucking beauty of putting classical music to absolute pointless violence.
There you go.
Oh, but Kubrick was making a... Sure he was, and so is Anthony Burgess when he wrote it. But it's all fucking fair game.
Yeah.
The only judgment is if the audience doesn't laugh, they don't like it, okay, that's the penalty you pay. And if she walked out and said, I just didn't go for that, I would have a lot of respect for the fact that she was at a show, she didn't enjoy what she was hearing, and like a big girl, she left.
But instead, she wants the whole crowd to feel like she does. That's crazy.
That's what drives me crazy.
That's crazy talk.
You know how dumb a comic would look if people got up and walked out of his act and he got all mad like, oh, I was telling jokes and people were walking out. Like, that's looking bad because you suck or whatever. They're just leaving in droves out of your out of your performance. But to stand up and start giving the guy shit because you don't appreciate the humor, shut the fuck up. He had every right to fucking cheer on a gang rape of her.
And these phony feminists are just sticking on the point of it's a woman, it's a woman's issue. We have to stick with her. How about for once you be less predictable than the religious right? You fucking dopey libs. How about for once you act like you say you want things to be. You want freedom of speech, you want freedom of expression, you want alternative thought to be embraced. How about for once you defend something unpopular?
Bravo.
Fucking Christ, it drives me nuts. But anyway,
good job,
he'll be
Jimmy.
fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I think
I hope
he will
so.
be.